Hello everyone! So here is the long-winded version of About Me. So the video that's on my website and also as my channel trailer for YouTube is like a short 4-minute long video just telling you, about the service I provide and kind of who I am sort of thing, but more in terms of the business. So I thought I'd do a slightly longer version, and what I'm going to do here is answer some of these questions that are on my my FAQ page. So I'll just show you that for a second. So that is here. So if you go onto my website, Wheel Building with Arup, which is just there, wheelbuildingwitharup.co.uk, and then you just click on where is it? Frequently asked questions. So I'm going to go, there aren't that many of them, but I'll answer the question and just read out the answer that's here, but then just elaborate a little bit on that. And these people do actually ask these questions a lot, like, how long does it take to build a wheel? How did you start building wheels? And do you work full time? That one not so much, but yeah, can I have parts delivered to you, and can I drop stuff off after work, etc. So yeah, so yeah, this one I might go into a bit more detail, but yeah, you can read up on it here on the website. So yeah, let's get going. So I've done another one called How Long Does It Take to Build a Wheel? But let's come back to that. So how long does it take to build a wheel? So I'll read out the answer that I've put here. And on my stream someone asked me this, so I answered that, and then I made a clip of it and put that on the channel. So what I've written on the website is I'd like to give a figure such as an hour or an hour and a half, but it's not as simple as that. The answer is it depends. Well, it depends on what. If it's a regular 3-cross pattern, for example, where the rim doesn't have any sort of deep section, it takes me about an hour and a half per wheel, and about an hour and a quarter. Okay. And with a sort of deep section rim, there's a risk of losing the nipple in between the layers. So you've got like this outer layer, and where the nipple actually goes on to the inside, like internal area, or the nipple seat as it's called sometimes. And then you've got then if you happen to drop it in there, then you need to fish it out, and then you need a special tool to kind of put the nipple to hold the nipple and guide it in, and then feed the spoke onto it. So I need to put the nipple onto a nipple holder and then feed it carefully into the hole. This is always the case with deep section carbon rims. And then sometimes with the carbon, you've got this weave inside the layers, and then as you're kind of feeding it through, there might be like it's a bit like cellophane inside, and you hit that and then it falls off the thing, and then you have to fish it back out. Building with exotic patterns. What are exotic patterns? Crow's foot, snowflake. I mean, that's going to take quite a bit longer. Building a rear wheel crow's foot requires 4 different spoke lengths. So it could be more than half an hour just to lace the wheel. Well, probably even more than that, because you've got to, you lose track of all the different lengths. So I get a piece of paper and I sort of lay them all out. Add to this the time taken to unpack the parts. So I'll be doing that with this one. So I'm going to be working on this in a moment. And then time spent ordering and discussing options with the client. And I would say the minimum would be 2 hours. So like as an average. If you'd like to have a go yourself, you can follow the video tutorials. So you'll find those on the YouTube. They're in, there's like 3 lots of them. There's one about how to do some measuring, and then there's one called lacing, and then there's like another collection called truing. And or come along next, some people have done that. They didn't want to have like a full one-to-one step-by-step tutorial. They had a rough idea on how to build wheels, so they just sat next to me while I was working, and then they could ask me questions, and I didn't charge anything for that. Whereas with an actual step-by-step tutorial, I do charge for that. Alright, I'm just going to be taking this up. What I'm going to do with this one is the client wants me to use the rim, and he's got me some new hubs, so I need to take this one apart. It's quite straightforward. I'm just going to use a spoke key and then just loosen it off. When you want to reuse the rims, you don't want to be cutting the spokes because it changes the tension very suddenly. If you don't care about the rim but want to take out the hub, then that's fine. Use a cable cutter or like small wire cutters. That's fine. But if you want to salvage the rim, then you should detune it quite carefully. I know it takes a little bit longer, but like sudden changes in spoke tension mean that you can end up warping the rim basically. And especially these ones are quite rare vintage ones, so I don't want to make a mess of them. So let's have a look at the next question. So that was, how long does it take? Okay, the second one is, how did you start building wheels? And this is definitely one that is asked of me a lot. So how did you start, well, and oh dear, it's very, very shiny. Look how shiny it is. And I'm going to end up putting finger marks on it. So if I grab the spokes rather than the rim, I should be good. So I'm just going to start loosening it off, and start working from there's the valve hole there. You see it? Let's just do one. So what I'll do is just read to start with, as I did with the previous one. So how did I start building wheels? When I built my first fixed gear bike back in 2004, having put together everything myself, I didn't want to stop at the wheels. And apart from Sheldon Brown and a bike maintenance book that I had there were no other resources. Oh yeah, there was no YouTube at the time and not a great deal online. I bought some tools and decided to give it a go. My first wheel, which I still have, I think I still have, I don't know, took me more than 4 hours to build, and I made lots of mistakes. Second one was a little bit easier, but not much. And then, having figured this out with a few resources, I thought that I would share what I'd learned and put together a small website to show the steps I'd taken. And I thought I'd build a few wheels for others, just to earn some money to cover the cost of the tools, making it clear that I only just started. I received an amazing response, which gave me a great deal of confidence, and a side business was born. After hundreds of wheels, I still love it, and I'm constantly learning more and more about it. So yeah, that was kind of the gist of it. I was putting together a fixed gear bike back in 2004, and there was a website called Fixed Gear Gallery. So there wasn't, if you compare to how much people spend time online and use the internet, it wasn't quite like that. So I'm just undoing these. And Fixed Gear Gallery was somewhere that people would post a picture of their creations and then just write a short blurb. So it's like a kind of multi-user blog, if you like. And there was I can't remember the name of the guy who put it together, but it was very simple. It's a bit like you might say with a Tumblr. So you just got this column, and then I think he categorized it in terms of like months or something, or years. Anyway, so I was really inspired by that, and what inspired me the most was that people were putting it together with like second-hand parts out of the bargain bin in the bike shop, getting second-hand bits on eBay. And living in London at the time, I'd had like my rear mech broke a few times and I had that replaced, and I just kept seeing fixed gear bikes around town. And I was teaching yoga at the time, and I was commuting by bike in between classes. So I kept coming across other bikes, and I was just fascinated by fixed gear, and I just wanted to have a go. So I bought a frame, and the frame I think had cranks on it. Definitely had a bottom bracket, but I don't know if it had cranks, and it was good size for me. So I gradually started to get parts together. I think I had forks as well, and got a saddle, got some bars, and then just thought, I don't feel like I've built the bike unless I build the wheels as well. So I got Park Tool TS7 spoke key, didn't get a spoke tensiometer. Very basic tools. I think I just had the truing stand And I did some, like, you can see where the spokes are crossing over on this wheel. What I did was get wire bag ties and kind of hold them together, so when I took them out I could see how it was put together. And yeah, Sheldon Brown was like the sort of main resource, and still was for many years after that. And I had a bike maintenance book, I can't remember what it was called, but in there was a chapter on wheel building. So I was referencing both of those, and yeah, gradually I bought a Goldtech hub, and I think it was some kind of Mavic MA3 rim, can't remember. And then yeah, the front was like just any old front hub I got from eBay. Maybe, I think it was like £2. And a rim I got off another old wheel, and it was a Henry Gregson frame, a red Henry Gregson frame. I got some, I think it was bullhorn bars, but anyway, that's how it all started. And then I put some ads in eBay saying, you know, I build wheels and it's only a tenner, but just remember I'm you know, just learning and just want to try and get some money for the parts, mainly the truing stand, which was about £80 or something, so just to kind of recoup some money for that. And yeah, people were really sympathetic and understanding, and like, wow, well, I couldn't do this, and I was quite shy and apologetic about my ability and confidence at the time, and like, well, I've only made like 2 or 3 wheels, so you know, don't if you're going to go touring or something, like, be careful, or maybe you want to get a bike shop to have a look at it or something. But yeah, it's fine. Do you work, so I'm just going on to the next question now. Do you work full-time building wheels? Well, at the time of writing, I was not. So let's see, 2004. So what is that, like 18 years? So at the time, I don't think I'd started as a so I started as a web developer around 2007. I was already, like I said, I was teaching yoga, and the wheel building was very, very new, and it, you know, I didn't know that it would become a side business, and now it's like the main thing I do. And then yeah, 2007 I started to teach myself how to do web development, programming, and then that became another side business, and I again didn't know whether that would go anywhere, but that became like already by 2008 I was taking on clients and building websites, fixing websites. So when I wrote this answer, I don't know when it was, maybe 2012 or something. So I was still teaching yoga. So it's part-time, but sometimes I do get overwhelmed with orders and inquiries. So it can become more of a full-time occupation for weeks at a time. As well as building wheels, I work as a yoga teacher and a web developer. Working freelance means that I can rearrange my schedule as required. Usually things work out so that when I'm not so busy in one field, the demand in the other fields increases, which is nice, which is a nice ebb and flow. But sometimes there is demand in all three, which can be tricky to manage. Yeah, that was quite tricky to manage because I had the most regular thing back then. So I gave up teaching yoga like completely in last year, so 2021. And I think whenever I wrote this, might have been like 2012, 2013, something like that, where I'd already cut back on how many yoga classes I was teaching, but at the beginning of my wheel building career, let's say 2004, I would have been teaching about 10 or 12 classes a week plus cover. So there were, like, even though it's freelance, they were scheduled classes, so it was a bit more like a job in that, right, I do these at such a time at this place, and I'd go there on my bike, my fixed gear bike, and then I'd also travel to meet web development clients. So it might be a new client, it might be an existing client, it might be an update, it might be some kind of bug fix or whatever. Sometimes I'd want to work away from home rather than, but I much preferred my own desktop to using the laptop. Bigger screen, more power, and so on. But the wheels didn't become like more of a thing until I think I'd say 2013, 14. I tried to just focus on the other ones and keep it more of a hobby side business. But as I started to move out of yoga teaching and web development, just because I wasn't really enjoying them that much anymore, I started to focus my efforts a bit more on this. And then, as well as building and fixing wheels, I started to do classes, and I made up a little classroom at home. So I had 4 tables each with their own touring stand and tools. Didn't do that many, but it became more of a regular thing. And yeah, just, I had the experience then, and I had more of a reputation, especially in London. And people were telling their friends about me that, oh, I got my wheels done by Arup, you should go there. And it's almost like I was starting to become a bit of a brand, and hopefully that's still the case. But yeah, nowadays it is very much a full-time thing, in the sense that this is it. This is my main job. I do stream on Twitch, but we don't get any money there. You get the odd gift. Okay, next question. Can I have parts delivered directly to you? Yes, and quite a lot of people do that. Absolutely. Many people do this, especially if they are busy and want to source the parts themselves. And that's one of the major reasons why people have hand-built wheels, because they want to choose the parts. They know that they want like a DT Swiss hub, or they want like a certain carbon rim, and they want to put the two together, but that's not available. So it can save money, but it saves the trip. Yeah, one of the things that people do will order online and then just put my address on the as the delivery address, and then when the wheels are done, they just either they come and pick it up themselves, and that's quite nice because I then get to meet them if they're a new client, new customer, or if there's someone I've dealt with before. It's nice to just catch up, see how the other wheels are doing, how their riding's going, because I want to hear about it. I'm excited about what kind of riding people are doing. Like, are they going BMX riding, mountain biking, touring, commuting, whatever it is. I've built something to help them create their dream, and the dream is, for most people, the dream is this feeling of escape. Like, by building that bike, however many bikes you've got, the next bike that you put together is a symbol, is a means for you to put down the rest of your life. Get on that bike and then off you go, whether that's riding around the track, whether that's riding to work, whether that's going on a bike tour, gravel, going shopping on your Brompton. It doesn't matter. It's like, once you're on that bike, you are away from the rest of your life, and I get that. And when I'm building a wheel, I'm contributing to part of your dream, and every time I build a wheel, I feel that. I feel that I've chipped into their little kind of means of escape, if you like. And especially with the pressures of modern life these days, and like work just constantly on it, because you got these devices, instant messaging and email on your phone, like work is just like on at you, like, oh, have you done this, or how's that going? It's all very polite, but so you get on your bike, and whether it's like a weekend sportif or whether it's downhill mountain biking, it's like, yes, I'm not available anymore, I'm doing this. So yeah, you can send stuff to me, and I can also send it back to you. So if you're outside London and it's a bit too far, or even just the other side of London, and it's a bit too far for you to come to Sydenham, South East London, to come and pick them up. But yeah, if you're going to have parts sent to me and it's courier, then do check that I'm going to be home. Otherwise, missed delivery, and it's a pain. More stuff to organise. All right, next question. Can I pick up, drop off outside of my working hours? Right, so on Google My Business, I've put like working hours, and currently they are like in the morning, sort of between 9 and 11, and then I do other things, and that can change. But like I say here, most people are working during the day, as you're working Monday to Friday, 9 to 5 typically, so you're going to need to drop your parts. So if you've got a rim and a hub, you're going to want to drop them off either in the evening, early morning, or the weekend, and that's absolutely fine with me. So yeah, just get in touch, email, phone, whatever, WhatsApp, and just tell me when you're coming. Oh, it says I'm not much of an early riser. Well, I am now. So I do get up quite early. I get up around 5, but I do pop out for a walk around 7 a.m, 7:30. But yeah, morning is fine. But yeah, usually after work, people would be dropping off around 6 or 7, and that's absolutely fine. Weekends are fine. And because I work freelance, weekends don't have that same kind of value as it does for most people. So yeah, I can be very, very flexible when it comes to picking up and dropping off. Okay, next question. What would you recommend for a touring set? And I guess this would apply to other kinds of wheels, you know, mountain bike or BMX, but I've put this one because I seem to have made more commuting touring wheels than any other type. So that's why I've put this one on here. And I've answered this at length here, so I'll just read that out. A touring wheel set needs to be strong. And then the weight of the wheel is a secondary consideration. You're likely to be in the middle of nowhere and miles from a bike shop. So you need to be able to rely on your wheels. I would recommend 36 holes with the standard, as like this one here, the standard 3-cross pattern. You are more than likely going to be using tires of 28mm and above. So that, you know, there's touring and bike packing. Bike packing is the sort of lighter version of touring. So you're going to want slightly wider tires. So the first consideration will be the rim. I would suggest something like Mavic A319 or 719 Ride. Rigida is now called Ride Sputnik and Grizzly. And then there are various disc ones. But some people want to have like specific disc rims so they don't have the braking surface. Other people don't mind having the braking surface. There are many hubs that would be suitable, and you can choose according to your preference. Mountain bike, yeah, so the hubs will depend on whether they're disc or non-disc, and you know, the width of your spacings. And then internally geared hubs, so you know, it's things like Alpine or roll-off, and fixed gear as well. I don't know if many people do fixed gear touring, but in terms of spokes, I would go for something called Sapim Strong spokes, so DT Alpine, and I've got a good stock of Sapim Strongs, and I can cut them to the exact length and thread them. So they have a thicker section at this end, and that's usually where the spoke is going to break, if it is going to break. And the breakage comes from play. So if it's thicker there and it's tighter inside the hole, there's less play and there's less chance of it breaking. And I can also put a washer on there to again reduce the amount of play. So the play that way or that way. And another way of reducing play is to put a spoke head washer in there. Yeah. Obviously these are generic recommendations, so feel free to get in touch and discuss your own specific requirements. Yeah, so like I said, you could be more of a gravel come bike packing type of person. So they need to be strong, but they don't need to be like ultra, like you're not putting heavy panniers on it, and maybe disc rims, so you could go for a lighter set of rims and maybe not even sap him strong, slightly lighter spokes, or just heavy duty spokes on the drive side. Usually people will want like some spare ones, and I can give you a very quick tutorial on replacing a spoke. Because there you are, like let's say you're doing something like, because I've built lots of sets for people doing TCR, the transcontinental race from London to Istanbul, and there people are focused on, you know, having something strong but also quite light. So I've gone for something like Hope RS4 or something, and if they break a spoke somewhere, I don't know, up in the mountains somewhere, they're going through some windy road and then they pop a spoke, I need to know how to fix it. So, you know, you just need a spoke key and maybe like a spare nipple, and then you know, you can, some people put their spare spokes down the seat tube. Sometimes on one of the rear stays you can have a little place to put them, but yeah, I can do that. But the best thing to do when it comes to recommendations is, you know, I'll give you some pointers. We can talk about the budget, and you know, gradually narrow down the choices until you feel like, right, this is the best weight to strength kind of ratio, aesthetics, cost, and then yeah, I want to get these rims, these hubs, these spokes, this pattern, we're good. Can you build, all right, just moving on to the next question. The next question is, so this is the last but one, can you build mountain bike wheels with through axles? Again, this question was a few years ago, and nowadays of course you've got road bikes with through axles as well. You know, the big shift over to disc. So the answer is yes, I can. I've got an adapter which fits onto my P&K wheel touring stand, and whether it's 15mm, 20mm through axle, you know, I've got the right size to fit in there, so that is no problem at all. And I can still build up the wheel, and yeah, no problem at all there. What is the average turnaround time? Okay, so again, this is a question that I haven't updated, but let's see. The turnaround time depends on a number of factors. Firstly is the availability of spokes. So I'm answering this when I didn't used to have a spoke cutting machine and stocks of spokes at home, whereas I do now. And that was usually the bottleneck. So if I already have the spokes that would be required for your build, then the turnaround time would be fairly quick. Otherwise, there is usually a few days wait while I order and receive the spokes required. The other consideration is how busy I happen to be at the time. I work part-time, and aside from myself, there are no other employees. Yes, there is only me, and there's still only me. So the only way I can manage busy periods is to use a queuing system. If it is such a busy period, then your turnaround time would depend on the availability of the spokes and my current workload. So how long on average? Between 7 to 10 days. If you want to jump the queue, you can pay a queue jump fee. I'm not really offering that anymore. And oh yeah, some people do actually bring me the spokes as well, which is quite rare. They may have done the calculations themselves, which I don't recommend people doing, but you know, it's good to see that initiative. But if you go and spend money on spokes and then find that you've messed up the calculation, then you know you kind of wasted the spokes. But it is quite rare that people would do that, because then what they'll end up doing is getting the measurements of the hub and the rim from the manufacturer's website, which I found more often than not is wrong. When you actually measure it yourself, you'll find that it's a few millimeters out, and that will have a big impact on the actual final spoke length. But yeah, at the beginning of the COVID period, when that happened with the lockdown, especially in the UK, everything sort of ground to a halt, and I just did a blanket kind of 2 weeks minimum, and I'm sort of still there, but you know, that's going to change. But the 7 to 10 days is still roughly the time. So you give me the hub and the rim, and I do have a selection of spokes, but I mean, let's say you wanted bladed spokes like Sapim CX-Ray. I don't keep lots of those, so I might need to order those in, or Sapim D-Light. I don't tend to keep those, but you know, things like Sapim Race, Sapim Strong, I've got loads of those, and you know, I can just cut them on my machine, so that makes the turnaround a bit faster. But I found that most people aren't in like a super hurry, like I need this done by tomorrow, whatever. Week to 10 days, because they're still building their bike, still waiting for parts to show up, or having, I don't know, their frame resprayed. You know, it's all kind of slowly coming together. The queuing thing is quite rare as well. I do have these periods where I get very busy, but even then people are fairly happy to wait, and they're just, you know, they'll say things like, oh well, do somebody else's one before me, I don't mind, it's cool. So everyone's generally quite laid back. The queue jumping thing I've hardly ever done. It's quite rare someone is like keen to get something done that quickly. It's only if it's their actual commuting set of wheels and they've broken a few spokes, and they, you know, they'll drop it off with me on, say, Friday evening, and they say, oh, can you have it done by Sunday night, because I want to ride it to work. And okay, I might kind of get that done for them. But generally something like next day service, same day service, those kind of things, I don't like to rush. And so if someone asks that, I'm saying, no, I'm sorry, I don't do like while you wait service. I have done it in the past, but I don't really feel too comfortable doing that anymore. Alright, so this is kind of done now. I can keep like loosening this off, and I've answered all the questions on the website, and I'll put a link down below, as they say, and yeah, so have a look at the website. There's other stuff on there, such as how to get in touch with me, and prices, etc. And then obviously on YouTube you've got the whole tutorial series if you're interested in you know, building a set by yourself. There's one resource there. But I'm going to leave it there for now, and hopefully if you managed to watch all the way through the long-winded version, it's answered all your questions about me. But if you still want to know more, feel free to just get in touch, and you know, we can have a chat about your wheels. But yeah, what do people say on YouTube? Like, comment, subscribe, etc, etc. And yeah, but if you're in London and you know, you want to talk wheels, whether you just need some advice or whether you need a set made up, just you know, get in touch and we'll chat. Okay, happy riding everyone, and bye bye for now. See ya.